Welcome everyone to another episode of the IYB. My name is Joel. Today's special guest is Mr. Ray Ortiz, aka Papi Ray, aka Shuey Ortiz. The list goes on and on.
Many.
Ray, let's get straight to it. What's your secret to staying young?
Man, boy, that's a good one. A lot of different things, I guess. You know what? It started off with when I was really young. It was an older gentleman. I started in the car business. When I was in the car business, an older gentleman, it just was the whole success thing. Do you consider yourself a success? And that's how it starts. You know, if you consider your success, every day you wake up and you feel if you're a success or not. And that's that youthfulness that brings in that, you usher it in. That's the best way to describe it. You usher that youth in. Because if you don't feel like you're a success in your day, you won't feel like your youthfulness. You'll feel like that drudgery. It gets old, because then you don't have that new perspective to anything anymore.
I think you were probably one of my greatest proponents for being able to restructure your own mind. If you think you are, you are.
Yes.
If you think you're not, you're not.
Exactly, absolutely.
And it's so corny when you tell somebody that. So there's a way to tell somebody, you know, and they have to be ready for it. I don't think you could just tell them that right off the bat.
Absolutely, exactly. I don't think you could just right off the bat, but you're right.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What? It's like, I can support you. I can support you if you decide you're wrong as well too. You know, if you want to go, you're right. Either direction you go, I can support you. So it's like, what's your passion? I can't decide your passion, but I can support your passion. And that's what you need. You need more cheerleaders supporting your passion. But that's the scary thing, is that means you have to make the decision. And that's where you want to be. Well, I want the glory if I make the right decision, but if I make the wrong decision, I want to blame somebody else.
Yeah. Or drop out and then
forget
go
about
do something else.
But you know, that's the thing, is like, well, if you feel that, again, if you usher in that youthfulness and you have that fresh eyes, you go back at the end of the day and you say, well, you know what, today, all right, well, I just got to redirect tomorrow with fresh, youthful eyes again. You know, we take that fresh look at it again tomorrow morning. Okay, it didn't go the direction I wanted to, or maybe that wasn't the direction it was supposed to go. Maybe we're supposed to go a completely different direction. Look at it with a whole new life.
For people who don't know, you're a musician by trade. I would say that is your passion.
Oh, absolutely.
But in music, you've always stayed close to the ground. You're always looking out for what's next. How do you do that? Most people get set in their music, and correct me if I'm wrong, is music part of what keeps you young? The hearing what's coming out next.
Well, that's the funny thing, because you know the story. You always hear me refer to it as the Pied Piper. And if you really think about the whole Pied Piper story, it is geared towards the youth. Because remember, the first thing they talk about the Pied Piper is he takes the rats and he drags them over the side, he takes them over, right? So that's music. Matt Rat's here and they go and listen to run with it. And then they don't pay him, right? Because they're like, oh, dude, shit, just got rid of the rats. So we don't have to pay this dude, but what does he focus on? The youth. So he attracted the youth, and that's what tells me, so if you're constantly listening to the newest, freshest music, that's youth. Miles Davis did the same thing. The dude was the oldest dude in the band. He had all these young kids, but he was playing all, you know, this King or whatever. You know, of course he wasn't that old, but he was much older, but he's surrounded. The biggest, if you look at Miles Davis' career, one of the pinnacles was when he went from acoustic bass to electric bass. And that's like, whoa, dude, you can't be doing that. And that was a big deal back then. Now he's like, shut up, whatever. But back then it was a huge deal. He went from an acoustic bass to an electric bass. He was trying to stay young and trying to stay fresh to keep that youth. Our population, guess what, is dying? The youth. That's what's coming out of the
Yeah. Aren't we always young though and we forget?
Exactly.
Is that what it is?
And again, how do you want to look at it? we can keep looking at it this way, but if you're youth, we have the energy. Just walk around, because that's what you do as a kid. As a kid, you run. You're trying to follow these different ways.
Yeah,
find things.
Young, flexible, curious.
Exactly.
You're just malleable to any kind of information that comes in. However, as we get older, what is it? Is it why do we get set in our ways? Why do we get more concrete? Why is it a protection thing? Is it? And you're a little bit older than me, so I mean, you can probably answer that a little bit better. People, your peers, people you've seen.
I think it's if you fall into that rut, and I think you just need to. If you, some of our conversations, it's like, hey, we say on the depression side, if you stake that one day and you fall asleep and you're just sleeping and not doing anything, you're like, okay, you got that one day. Mm-hmm. Do it 2 days, and it's kind of like, oh, well, do the opposite. If you're just staying consistent, that second day it's time to start waking up and start doing something because you're asleep, right?
Yeah.
So if you do the opposite, if you're staying consistent, you're not seeing it, you're just staying stagnant, it's time to start doing something different. Mm. So you do the opposite.
That's hard to do.
Exactly, because you're doing,
you get comfortable.
You're working your 8 to 5. You finally caught up. You finally caught up with all your bills. You finally caught up with everything. You finally saving money like you're supposed to. You're doing everything. You're like, I could finally coast. And you're coasting, and then 10 years pass by, and you're like, oh shit,
been coasting.
Been coasting too damn long. You wake up, but that's like that depression thing. Before you know it, it's already 2 weeks. You're like, oh man, this is, I smell. I haven't shaved.
Yeah.
I stink now. You
Yes.
haven't bathed. You let it go. It was just the opposite. You just didn't see it. And that's that whole, again, back to that, you wake up in the morning, the checkup from the neck up. That's that old book, those 1 minute salesman, whatever.
You got a lot of things that we don't say anymore.
Exactly, that's the thing. But those are things that I still say today.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna incorporate it now.
So when you wake up, because the car business was about having a positive attitude. Because you woke up and you don't know if you were going to make a sale or not. So you're like, dude, if I go in there with a crappy attitude, I'm not going to sell it. Who wants to buy from a crappy salesperson?
Right.
Who wants to buy from someone? Hey, you want someone who's like, hey, animated. And stuff.
We forget we're in a bad mood, though. We forget we're in a rut. We forget we're depressed. We forget these things. But as you said, I think that's an interesting point. You work so hard just to be comfortable, and then you finally get it, and you just don't want to work anymore.
That's what makes you old.
Yeah.
Sedentary living is the #1 killer of old people. Guess what you just did?
You just cut your leg off, man.
Exactly. You just did it with your work, or you just did it with your lifestyle. But it's still the same thing. You got to keep it moving. You got to keep, all right, so maybe I'm not as passionate in this field. Maybe find something else I'm passionate. Mm-hmm. Music was always my thing, so it was always like, okay, I exhausted this scale.
What's the first step to untiring yourself?
Oh, boy.
I mean, because if you want to really talk about, like, sure, it's one thing to say, to do it, but how? How do you break that? And I put yourself in the mindset of maybe an old version of yourself, like being in the rut, not knowing. Then now what? Now what do you do?
Well, that's the thing is once you feel like what's one of my favorite phrases, once you think you know a person. And I say that for that reason, is because you really think you know a person. You think all the chips are going to fall the same way every time. But yet there's always a small little variation. That's what you got to find, that small variation.
Talking about in yourself?
In yourself.
In anyone.
Everything you do. You think you see a pattern, and you're like, oh, okay, I know how this is going to end up. I'm going to kick off the heels and just watch this and coast it, when you should just be more eager to see, okay, there's going to be something. There has to be some small little variation in this pattern.
Yeah.
What is it? And can I catch it? And if I do, but with that eagerness of a child, you just can't sit there and like, okay, well, this is the exact same thing. I saw this happen with my mom and my dad 10 years ago. It's just going to fall in the same way. Well, It probably is.
Do you think that?
Yeah.
No, you're good. Do you think back to the comfort, or
Yes, So you get back to your comfort zone, and we like that, but but you're never gonna be young by doing that.
Least path of resistance. Also, I think you want to say there's a pattern, and I go back to the government work days. You see that there's a pattern. I'm done. I check it and I move on. I can move on to the next thing. I don't have to worry about it. I mean, I wouldn't even say just government, but I would say just about anywhere. We want to be able to set it, forget it, move on. Something I have been trying to do different lately, and you may you may understand where I'm coming from. I've started to take things without time limit. I started to work on things without trying to meet a specific goal or whatever. Maybe it's not even going to work. Maybe it's going to take me 12 days versus 12 hours. Who knows? And I'm trying to kind of rewire my brain right now with that.
That was going to be, that's a great segue, because that was the next thing I was going to talk about was time. That I love it. One of the, as a musician, one of the bass players, his name was Father Stan Fortuna. We were talking about practicing. He says that little round thing, he says, you see on the top, he goes, it's called a clock. Throw that thing away and forget about it. Put it in the drawer, throw it, get rid of it. And she's telling the truth. Whatever situation it is, you got, what else are you going to do with your time? Obviously, you're in your comfort zone, so you're not doing anything else with it.
Are we managing time, or is time managing us? That's what that tells me.
Exactly. Because there's only right now.
We're conditioned too.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely.
We're conditioned to.
Oh, that's the other side of it. Absolutely.
As we've said, from the time you start school, you gotta show up when the bell rings, and then you gotta leave when the bell rings, and it's just constant, and you become conditioned, and then eventually, guess what? Oh, your job's the same way. There's a bell. You come in and you go out. And you do the things, and then you don't do the things. Always this time frame, this lock, exactly. And you can't break it. You can't break it.
And if you're not productive in these hours that supposedly that they, whoever says these, then you're a problem child, or you need medication, or you need to be. You're almost forced into this 8 to 5 idea concept. And I'm more than sure, I don't know now, but I know me growing up in school, I saw many children, my peers pretty much, really what it was, dead to the world to about 11, and then boom, light up.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, what's up with these kids?
Where was this person
this whole time? But every day, like 11, or noon, or after lunch or something, you're just like, dude, what's up with this? It's like, well, man, now that I'm older, you look back and it's like, why aren't they taking advantage of that? If they were truly worried about the child, they would look at that and take that group of children and say, okay, well, this group, we have to focus on a little differently.
Yeah, that's too hard.
Exactly. Now you're splitting it. Now you're asking us to do something back to the comfort zone.
You want everybody to be in
We want to be able to set it and forget it, set it from 8 to 5 and forget it. Heaven forbid that we actually go outside our comfort zone and try different things. Heaven forbid, we used to talk, I know some of our conversations that what is the first thing a teacher does in his classroom when you have two kids that get along really great? And some of those are those friendships that last a lifetime. Mm-hmm. I've seen it, I've read about it, those two kids that meet together in first grade and they do not separate. And the teacher, first thing she does, separates.
Yeah, y'all talking too much. Y'all laughing too much.
But yet, their entire life, they're together. Maybe they get married to different spouses, but they are the closest friends for the rest of their lives.
That is true.
And yet, we don't take advantage of that. That is something that is mind-boggling to me. But teachers in every grade after that will separate them. Again, it breaks their comfort zone. I'm not trying to knock teachers. I'm just saying that's a way how we can go against the youthfulness. Because I'm going to try that.
What you're talking about is the system, the bureaucracy that we have that we go through, the goals that somebody else has made for us that now we're trying to achieve.
Exactly. Well, we're trying to meet something, but
judging a fish by how how fast it can climb a tree. Right?
Exactly. Back to that old Einstein thing. Exactly. Now we're all going to do that type of thing.
Yeah,
But-
and I always feel like everybody is a fish in their own sense, and nobody's getting properly tested to how they can succeed for themselves. And I think that's what makes life very difficult. I feel like I face that right now. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do? I haven't been working on that my whole life. I've always been working on what I'm supposed to do for somebody else, or what it's.
By this age, you're supposed to have this.
Yes.
By this age, you're supposed to have this.
So what do you do?
By that age, you're supposed to have. It's like, dude, maybe that model isn't for you.
Yeah.
Maybe-
To break that is almost a call of insanity.
And then if you break it, not only that, the peer pressure if you break it. Oh, why aren't you working on buying a house? Or why aren't you? Or as Hispanics, you know.
Yeah. Why aren't you married?
Why aren't you married? Exactly. ¿Cuántos años tienes? Ya tienes 35. You know, it's like you're already 35 years old. You vas a tener niños. You know, it's like it's huge judgment at that point. It's like they want you. It's okay if you don't have it. It's all right. Okay, maybe there's other reasons, but it's all right if you don't. And if you want to pursue other things or find your other passions, whatever keeps you young, of course, you know. Look,
Living, moving, running, engaged. I think that's young, right?
exactly.
Just-
Absolutely.
It's interesting of what a passion means, but I think of it as something that you're willing to invest into wholeheartedly, that there's no limit to it. You
me-
found something that's worth, quote unquote, your time.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. To me, your passion could be defined as that thing. I know I do it daily where you just forget what time is. I know everybody has that one thing where it's just like you're so focused on it, where you look up, it's like 3 hours are gone. Passion. Because you forgot about it. You know, I'm not saying sit on a couch and watch TV for 3 hours. No, that's not a passion. That's, you know, that's just.
Well, I'm reviewing the shows. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, I get it. But you know, that there's seasons. I agree.
Yeah.
There's seasons for everything. I agree with that. There is season for that. I would never say don't watch TV but again, there's a season for it. But to move actively into something, you know, where you can actually actively, even if it's small little things. You know, I was big into Indian lore growing up, so even small little beadwork is just like. Been doing it for 12 hours. Like the sun came up and the same thing down. It's like I didn't even pay attention.
Yeah, you got lost in it.
There you go. You get lost in it. Time is gone. Everything's gone, and everything's good.
And that
Marcus Aurelius.
only you can answer that question of what that thing is. Sorry, you were saying?
But Marcus Aurelius said it best. He goes, "Everything out here is petty and drama. Just focus on your craft." And it's the truth, because your craft is what's making humanity better.
Yeah.
That's really what's making humanity better, because all this drama and pettiness really is not making humanity better.
How do you
It's hard.
How do you deal with the concern of people, and along with that, what you just said, tie that in with the concerns of AI taking my job? AI is taking over all of these tasks that we've done repetitively, or things that we've depended on a professional to do. How do you counter that with maybe your own creativity, your own craft?
That's the thing, is you've got to be creative. AI, I think to me, AI is just a data. All it can do is retrieve. It's going to find patterns, algorithms. I don't think it's ever going to be able to, maybe in the future it will, to actually take information and then to make future decisions or predictive decisions. I think it'll be able to make decisions based on certain things. 98% of information will be able to be answered through AI. There's still going to be that 2%, or maybe 3%, and that we're talking about 7 billion human lives right now. 3% of 7 billion human lives is a huge amount of human lives on our hands.
Yeah.
So that's still a lot of humans out there that we still would have to take care of.
I think we're incredibly efficient. I think we have maybe so many new problems that we can start addressing that we haven't done before. Population's growing, population's not growing. Population has these resources. People, there's no water in these regions. I think these are potential issues that we can fix in the future.
That requires
with
human effort, human work, that AI can't solve. AI is not going to solve human water issues.
Also, AI is extremely demanding when it comes to how you power it, how you run it. It sucks up a lot of water, sucks up a lot of electricity. So there is a cost to it.
Absolutely. There's always, remember our conversations, at what cost? Everything costs something.
Everything costs something.
Everything has its pros and cons.
The other thing too is like, I think about we're judging ourselves in the AI world. Of course, AI can generate a command in less than a nanosecond. Of course, it can type you a whole book in less than a second. But it's because those are those rules. Does that make sense? Like, AI is playing in a technological world, and it's finding out how to be faster. We're trying to get in that computer and trying to beat it. You're never going to beat it.
Hell no, absolutely.
But AI is trying to get into our minds and our feelings and our thoughts, and it almost cannot do that. It's an interesting dynamic that we have the ability to think with ourselves, and in this world of AI computing, but it's limited right now. And maybe that's what they're working on next, trying to put a chip in our brain and everything like that. But I think it's a lot more complicated than.
Well, yes, we're humans. We
really,
do think
really strange. But to think also, we're not invincible. We're not forever. We're not. Who's to say that we are the top dog? Maybe we're not anymore.
Well, again, so we're looking at computers at solving problems, and as an example, as a human, I could set up a microphone right here, and I'm talking just on the music side, and I know you got a lot of set up here, but you could set up a microphone here, and there's tons of programs where you could run it, and it could eliminate feedback, and it'll do all these great things and all this crazy stuff, and you still hit something, and it's still creating feedback, and you ran like all these different AIs and all these different things to run it, and you're still getting feedback. I'm being serious, there are guys out there, walk in here, and this guy, frequency, fix it. And you go there and you just fix that frequency, and he knows it. Like,
well, and here's the other thing too. Here's the human creativity in that is there's all this effort to try to eliminate all this feedback, and the humanity in us is like, no, leave it in there. Let's mix it up. Let's throw it in there. The background
is a background noise as well.
What does that do to you? Why is that working? Why is that effective? Why did they leave that dog barking in that song?
There's like, because of the magic of the voice, but yet it's like, it's still there in that gap. Oh man, especially with recordings and stuff, there's some weird stuff that they sometimes do that just freaks you out. It's like, again, like a gap in air. It's like all they do is just, you're like, oh, this sounds weird. And all it is just, all the record is a gap of air. And it's like, wow, made that little, that was it? Yeah. But it made a huge difference. Breathe, or the whole song started to breathe better. Then again, you're that close. To me, it's that you're on the cloud and you go all the way down. You went all the way down to the fine sand, and you looked at that one little bitty grain of sand, or that little, whatever they call that little piece of that sand, or that granule of sand, and you checked that out and said, okay, it's good. Go back all the way back to the cloud, and you're looking at it, it's like, is anybody really going to pay attention to that granule of sand?
Exactly.
But in your mind, you're good.
Yeah.
I did that. But that's the craft part. That's the craft part. You made it better for humanity, even though some peludo's going to walk over there and just walk on that sand.
Yeah, constantly.
Constantly. But you made it better for humanity. Real circles back to the youthfulness,
Is that the challenge with music? Is the chase for perfection, the chase for balance, the chase with the times, where people are at, what they're dealing with? Because a lot of times music, I go back to the Vietnam era. The music from that era was all tied to the war. Any song that had anything to do with the war and people knew right away, like that was their jam all of a sudden. You can go back and be like, that song it's not even that good. It's aged horribly. But you weren't there. You didn't know what that song meant.
See, to me, it's like me and my father were just having this conversation, and I tried to explain it to him this way. And again, this is my youthful mind looking at it. It's like, Dad, it's like, you're going to tell me that a 1960s engine is the same thing as an engine today? And you're gonna see where I'm driving at. It's like, it's not.
They're totally different.
Way different. So you're gonna tell me a melody line from the 1960s is gonna be as interesting as a melody line today? As an engine got more complex, that line got more complex. Music has to get more complex. But what we forget sometimes is like, oh, that's boring. No, bro. We have to have the engine first. We could not build what we have today if it wasn't for that engine.
True.
So we have to respect the 1960s, 1950s. That was the base. That's the engine. That was the 6-cylinder. That was the big 454.
Yeah.
That's what that was. Now it gets complex. Now it gets more complex. As we move forward and we go forward, that's the youthfulness. We could take that old 1960s, like you were saying, the war, fortunate son. And it's like, yeah, it's old, but it's got that hippie vibe, it's all that. Yeah, bro. And it's like, yeah, it's got that, old-timey music. But, who's to know? There might be that one guy today, or not even born yet, 30 years from now is going to sample that and make it even more complex. And the kids are going to eat it up. And it's just like, but it was, and then you could have, my parents can be dead. I may be, my daddy's song right there. Listen to that. It's the same thing, but it's just more complex.
I saw a clip of Cypress Hill. They had sampled the sound of a horse from an older song, and I didn't even know that's what the sound was.
Totally, man. Totally. That big 80s chord is a Russian a symphony. Is the bap, bap, that big chord that you probably hear through the whole 80s. Bruno Mars brought it back here, in the last 10 years or so. That is a Russian symphony opening chord.
You got a pulse on that, don't you, when it comes to music? Not just yours, but you got a variance of a whole wide spectrum of music, of how to see things and how to play things, where it seems like a lot of people are kind of just getting real narrow on how to hear or play music. Would you agree with that? Do you feel like you don't have a genre, almost like you fight to limit yourself from a genre?
I really do, and it hurts me as much as it helps me. Because
to general population, or how does it hurt you?
It hurts me in the sense that I can't advertise like a genre. I can't say like, oh, I'm a country player, because I don't know, like I'm not deep into country.
Yeah.
Like.
But you're also not doing it for that.
That's true.
Yeah.
I can't go and say I'm a pop artist. It's like, I know a few pop songs. I can't say I'm a rap artist. Cool, big thug, whatever.
But even if you didn't even if your albums never blew up, none of that ever happened. As you said, you've enjoyed your craft. It's kept you young. What happens?
Absolutely.
What happens if your hands you got arthritis? What happens then?
I start playing the trombone.
Start
singing.
It doesn't stop.
That's the reason I'm singing. Exactly.
Okay.
That's the reason I'm singing now.
Do you feel it?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. That's the reason. That's the reason I've stopped playing a lot this past year. Is because of that. Because it's been killing my hands.
You made a shift.
It made a shift. That's the reason I've been singing so much more. Now I'm getting lost in the singing. Now it's the singing that I lose it in. Now it's like, oh my God, I've lost 2 hours in singing, and my heart's content. Yelling and screaming and screaming and playing with my voice, hitting all these different notes and all these, having to make I've always had different voices, so now I'm just singing all these different voices and matching pitches and, but I've always done that. That I've always done. I'm always tuning in everything and playing with everything and listening to crickets and jamming out with the crickets and dogs and listening to barks and everything. Oh, that's a cool little bark. It's so funny because
I feel like you could just go live.
I really
like
could.
You could just walk around a day in the life of Ray.
Exactly.
That's completely fascinating.
Got theme songs just busting out everywhere.
Oh, look at the trail of ants. What's going on? Where are they going?
Whoever makes the app for, theme song, AI theme song, whoever makes that, throw me the money. Whoever comes up with the app for an AI song, theme song, because I'm being serious, everybody has their own playlist. And if you could come up with an AI to make up your own theme song as you're cruising around.
Wow.
So whoever comes up with that freaking app, I want 10%, please. Like I said, I'm always ahead of my time, but only 15 minutes. But yes, that's a big
song. Just to your life.
Just of your song, of your background, because that's all you need is a database, right? So you probably listen to the same, you don't even know it. Probably listen to the same 500 songs, and the AI would just probably dump out your own melody, and there's your theme song.
I think also how quickly to adjust it in your life, because you get burned out, you get tired of it. Okay, before you get tired of it, I want to mix it up for you, or I'm just going to turn it off.
Exactly.
Sometimes you need to turn off the music to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There is when I am gigging hard and music is 100% in my life. When I'm when it's and it has been like that several times in my lifetime, where it's just wake up and sleep music. Sundays, it's zero, no music, just
Reset.
just ambient sounds, only ambient sounds, no music. I'll do everything I can to turn off any music, just ambient sounds only.
And you've always kind of said that music is everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So if I really have the need and urge to listen to it, but I need that reset, because I think even Frankie, my son, my middle son, he loves watching music movies. And we were watching the one with the female singer who passed away at 27, Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse, yeah.
And she goes, I need to go live life so I can influence my songs. And to me, my biggest influence...
She lived.
Oh, absolutely. My biggest influence is nature. So to me, that's the ambience. And so I try to be outside as much as possible just to absorb it, because to me, personally speaking, the earth just speaks to me.
Yeah.
Earth just speaks to me. So I need that one day, only if and only if I'm playing from like sun up to sundown, Monday through Saturday. And that has happened quite a few times in my lifetime.
What would you, kind of shifting back to you and your time frame, what would you tell your younger version of yourself? What would be your one great piece of advice? You're totally different person from the day I met you, which was, what, 8 years ago or so?
Yeah.
But even further back in your 20s, back maybe even before you joined the Navy.
Honestly?
Not honestly.
Now I think about this honestly, I would say be more selfish.
Yeah.
Because I think I've always been so giving. And yes, that's probably what's kept me probably the youngest, is because I've always done for everybody else. And selfless service. I guess that's really the real root of the real youthfulness, is selfless service. And now that I'm getting older, it's like, man, you start looking at the pictures, you start looking back, and it's like, I did so much for so many people, and now it's like,
I'm in the opposite.
you know?
I'm in the opposite.
Yeah.
I think I've been mostly selfish most of my life, real focused and driven on obtaining and reaching goals. We're very, as you said, time oriented, very focused on just doing what I'm quote unquote supposed to do. And now I'm like, no amount of stuff, no amount of money, no amount of anything. Call it prophecy, call it proverb. It always goes back to giving back is really what gives you the most. Well, like if it's genuine, it's meaningful. The other thing is it's an art also to know when and how to give back. It's like the old man just giving advice. Nobody's asking for your advice.
Well, the thing is it's the balance is really, I guess, and it's hard to tell a young me what true balance is, because that's the lifetime. That's what you're learning in the lifetime, is the balance.
Constantly shifting.
The balance, because to me, it's not so much be more selfish. It's like learn your balance, because it's like be selfish in the sense that when you take care of yourself, because I love taking care of people, but when you take care of yourself first, you get to take care of more people, you idiot. Like, come on, dude.
I could see that.
You see, you love taking care of, you got to take care of 3, but if you took care of yourself first, you could have taken care of 10. So if you really wanted to take care of humanity like you truly did, the true selfishness would have been taking care of yourself so you can take care of more.
I can see that. I think that mistake is always happening around us, because it's, for them it's easier. If it's the sacrifice, to take care of yourself and hold off and wait and not be. And sometimes you're scared that if you take care of yourself, you're never going to be able to take care of those around you. That happens too.
Absolutely.
That happens too. Sometimes you don't have the luxury to do that. Sometimes you unfortunately just got to take care of other things. Would you agree or disagree with the idea of there's not enough sacrifice being made in today's youth?
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of times, I ran into this even in one of our meetings. They're at work. One of the guys said, my kids, their focus is strictly on school. They're not allowed to throw out the trash. They're not allowed to clean the house.
Wow.
They're just focused on
That's
school.
a mindset.
Right, and I'm like, dude, I just threw this out there and said, man, I don't think you really want to do that. And he goes, again, I'm an old man. I got advice. Nobody wants my advice. And he goes, like, what? Well, the reason why is you want your kids to know that you rely on them. Somebody needs to throw that trash out. And if they don't feel like they're part of the family, that I rely on you to throw that trash out, who's going to throw it out? And they need to be part of that family. So they're not sacrificing to throw that trash out no matter what it is. That child is not sacrificing. So yes, that youth is not sacrificing. Mm-hmm. He's thinking that youth is self-entitled now, thinking, all I gotta do is go to school. No sacrifice whatsoever. And that's not, we gotta readjust ourselves as parents, I think, sometimes, and say, okay, wait a second. No, I want that child to be part of the family.
Yeah.
So, and being part of the family means that you have special duties that you need to do.
There's some distribution going on.
There's got some distribution because we do rely on you. We want you to be part of the family. One of the big things I remember, I had stepkids before, and they were like, man, I hate washing dishes. And I was like, man, aren't you thankful that you had food on those goddamn dishes? How about that?
Yeah.
That's a true blessing. You have food on them dishes. Why aren't you looking at it like that? How many people look at it like that? Damn, man, I have food on these damn dishes. You be washing the hell out of them, Woo, man.
Another one coming.
Exactly. That means I'm washing because that means more meals are coming, Like, what a different attitude versus, like, just gotta wash these goddamn dishes.
Yeah. Good luck telling a teenager that.
They
are pretty.
Exactly.
Can't eat that regular food that they're handing out.
Exactly,
Come on, government cheese. I can't do nothing with that.
Exactly, totally.
Well, I get that there's a need for, to a certain extent, some form of government distribution. I think that there are imbalances, but I do think it works kind of both ways. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm nobody in this kind of world, but what I see is today's generation wants their own big house. And I think that the generations before have kind of messed it up by somewhat inflating the price, right? Everybody was kind of like greedy and they wanted their house to go up. So that's what we did. We pushed for the homes to go up in value. And now it's so hard for the new generation to come in. But I think maybe if I was new generation coming in, I would hope that I could break the mindset of thinking that I can have what my prior generation had and find a new way to get what I want.
Yes.
If it's a home, maybe you just got a roommate for a little bit. Like, I don't see anybody talking about maybe splitting a mortgage and trying to work something like it's forcing the people to become more community, where our generation was divided because it was like, get your own house, get your own car, get your own whatever, like don't rely on anybody else. I think the opposite is needing to happen, is work together. We have like 4-bedroom homes. Like, why do we need so many rooms? Why are we
first of all, feel more stuff that you're not going to use.
First of all, why are you living divided? Why are you not with your family? Why are you not closer to your kids? Why is there this time frame of 18 and you're out the door? Like, kind of like, I get the idea when it first happened. You don't want your kids to be lazy, get your ass, get a job, do something, right?
Exactly, totally.
But we're also, as you said, like, time has evolved. We're a little bit more complicated now. We have the abilities to say, hey, you could still get to the goal that you want, which is probably your kids to be driven, independent, going in their craft. Maybe you can join them for that instead of just kicking them out the door. Back in the day, you had to kick them out because you had to get back to work. Now, things are a little bit more lax. Maybe there's a way to shift jobs and I don't know. I'm just saying, I know I'm kind of ranting, but maybe there's a way to shift the way we're programmed of thinking. You don't have to do it this one way.
As a first generation American on my mom's side, that's the thing, is you're building your future for your children in hopes that they live what you couldn't. In other words, like, I'm building it for my children to be passionate about what they're going to do. I believe in the American dream. You're going to do what you're passionate.
Yeah.
I didn't come to, or as they would say, I didn't come to America just to become a lawyer, just because I want to make a shitload of money. No. If I'm an artist, I came to be an artist. If I want to be,
shoemaker.
Exactly. Which there is excellent shoemakers, even, here in town, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. A guitar builder, a waterfall guy, builders of aquariums or whatever. You could come and do this in America, and you could make your own business out of it. Yeah. That's what first generation us would do. We're doing that for our children. And if we see one of our children is like, hey, you're really talented at that, we're going to build that up, and we're going to try to make a business. Finally, Ramon and Sons, like Ortiz and Sons, we got that one little kid that,
he's roofing construction.
He's roofing. He could roof the shit out of everything, It's like, but hey, that's the way it is, But you're building it for the next generation. We know it's back to that one saying, the one guy who plants a tree knowing that the shade is for future generations. That's what you're doing. You're planting something. Is it for you? But then, that's that whole selfishness, how much.
Isn't that the ultimate servitude?
Exactly.
To know that the shade's not for you?
We hope. You hope, unless, you're like, well, I'm going to stay under this tree.
Perhaps it's
also, I'm not going to plant any goddamn trees.
Yeah,
Y'all figure it out.
But that's the humanity, I think, is
exactly
the appreciation that you have shade, or maybe you don't have shade. And so maybe you can be understanding of what the next generation feels like,
Well, that's the thing, is how many people are like that?
It's just, we're always looking at things like they're, in a sense, beneath us. That the younger generation doesn't know what the older generation, but it wasn't even your choice of when you were born. And if you could just take that out and realize that person could have been in your class, or that person is in your class, you're really relatively not that much older than them, and you're going to die soon. Well, and that person's going to die soon.
I always give this example. Yes, my oldest son is 30, and his ability to catch a fake picture on internet is uncanny. Why? I can't catch it. I can't catch it. I feel like that old man that can't catch it. I need those numbers. Because
but he called me needing a social security number.
Exactly. That's the humbling part of it. But you see, I'm that old man or older man that's humbled by that. I would show him a picture of, that's fake. What? How could you tell? Like, he grew up in the generation where he saw the pixels as they got tighter and tighter.
Yeah.
So his ability to see that is a billion times better than mine. So he could see that better than I could ever do it.
Yeah.
His wisdom on that outweighs mine. So to me, it's like, as an old man, it's like, okay, I need to use that.
Yeah.
I need to borrow that, son. Can you help me with this? Instead of being the jerk and saying, okay, you know what? Well, I'm gonna go learn how to do this then. It's like, no, dude, it's impossible. He lived it. He lived every iteration of that. Even if I went back, he went year.
There's only so much time.
Exactly.
You might as well leverage.
Exactly, my point.
Somebody's going to leverage you.
My point, exactly.
Your son's been leveraging you.
Amen.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going to have this attitude that you don't have my wisdom. It's like, well, he's got wisdom that I don't have either. So we got to be able to, again, not to get all Christian, all this kind of stuff, sort of certain things that I do agree with. And there's one thing that I remember saying, some people may disagree, but once you become an adult, you become brothers in Christ. There's no longer, I'm your dad and you're my son. We are now brothers in Christ. I kind of agree with that. Now we're brothers. Now we're the same. Now we're two humans in life. And that's the relationship you should have with your children if they're adult children.
I think it always...
Not with the 2-year-old, now you're on your own, buddy, go get you a job,
Yeah.
Get those minds.
I think it always does stem to maybe a scar, or maybe a feeling of responsibility that you're supposed to have to your kids, that you're supposed to be this father figure.
Yes.
You know, because you think about them not having the father figure, but then to be able to turn it off or to adjust it a little bit, I think most people cannot do that. I think once back to the rut, man, we're always like finding ruts in our lives, and sometimes you don't even know that you're in.
I'm comfortable with that position. I'm comfortable being a daddy.
Yeah.
Well, that's got me in a lot of trouble, you know, just being comfortable being a daddy. Okay, here you go. I'm just a daddy. Oh, you need more money for diapers? Okay, you need milk? You know, of course, you know, that's the dad in me, you know. I know how it is. I know how it feels. I remember being broke. I remember, you know, scraping and scrounging, you know. I know how it is, but it's like, okay, wait a minute.
Do you feel like you're too old for anything?
Never.
Do you feel like you can go to a show, bunch of 18, 19-year-olds and have a good time?
Oh, absolutely. I could usually, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Not a problem. Not a problem. I know there's been plenty of times where I've done gigs on the island and in Rockport where I've got
just you can just strike a conversation with anybody.
Oh yeah, the 21s, the 18 to 21s, they'll just flock right up to me and they go, "Yo, we just love your attitude." We just like, wow, dude. I'm over here just like, what the fuck is going on, man? I get all awkward because I feel like that creepy old man, you know.
Sure.
And I hate that because back to what we started with, you know, if you think you are, you are. And it's like, I'm not a creepy old man. Stop thinking that. You know, it's like, I'm not. But because people just, you know, but it's just, they say it and I have to agree with it because it's been like this my entire life. Authenticity is the biggest light that can shine inside you. Everybody says love is what shines brightly inside you. It is not. It is authenticity. Just being authentic, showing up and being authentic is probably the most thing. And yes, my positive and my youthfulness is very authentic because it's a constant reminder every minute of the day. Hey, constantly look at this. Have that energy of a child. You know, there's times where I'll go run. I'm being serious. I know sometimes, I don't know if you remember, I'll go jump on a curb and just start waving my arms and kicking my legs, you know, just like a little kid, just to feel the rush, get those air, get the move, you know, just to feel like a child, just to get that feeling, get that right. I guess it's the rush of the oxygen to your brain. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just bullshitting. Maybe I'm just bullshitting. Maybe it's a level of insanity, exactly. But I've done it all my life and it's worked great. And it's something that just resonates inside me and it works great for me. But to me, that's where that youthfulness comes into play. It is just, that's what keeps me running and moving and going, never stopping. But yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter where I go, especially if I'm playing to just attract that kind of a crowd. It doesn't even matter. It could be even kind of old guys. It doesn't matter. I'm just grateful for that.
What's your closing thought on if you had one piece of advice and you could share and you could actually maybe push that to the future? Or maybe just your peers. I feel like your advice is usually to your peers more than it is. The younger generation's always listening. But
Absolutely, yeah, they usually are.
As hard-headed as we think they are.
No, that's the funny thing is, you know what? Yes, I would have to say this. We get so frustrated as an older generation to my peers, and there's something my kids know, and they love it because they know it. Because it's constant. It is very constant. They know it. If I told you once, I've told you a million times. You want to talk about our comfort zone? We say that. I say that constantly to my kids. Don't do that. I've told you once. I've told you a million times. Don't do that. And we get comfortable. It's like, oh, don't do that. And we get to the point we just dismiss it, and we just get comfortable. And we need to stop doing that because that complacency has cost us so much. We need to get back up and say, I've told you once, told you a million times. Do it this way. Again, you're not doing it the way I told you. I've told you once, I've told you a million times, just like a parent has done for millions of times. Because our children are like that. Because guess what? Our children, I'm old enough to understand now that our children, as they become adults, become us. Because if you told them once, you told them a million times. You told them, save this kind of money. They're going to be sitting there as an adult thinking in the back of their head, Mom and Dad always said to take care of this kind of money. Because if they told me once, they told me a million times. Put this aside. And we're not doing that anymore. We tell them once, no, they're not doing it. So it's not, they don't care about it. Why should I care about it?
You don't think sometimes it's too restrictive, maybe to allow them to do?
Well, the thing is, to me, it's.
Or do you feel like you're saying that we shifted too much to making their own decisions?
Making too much of their own. Some of the decisions, like to me, like saving money. That's a good one to me. Is we're in a bad financial situation because nobody's saving money. Nobody's saving money right now. If we all decided, where are you gonna go get money from?
Yeah, nobody's got money. Credit cards, baby.
Exactly. Hey, go give me $10. For real. For real.
I haven't seen that.
Exactly.
I think most kids, most young generation, they don't mess with money.
That's what I mean.
Change? No.
Our current times and everything, that's something like, it is restricted certain thing, but especially when it comes to morals. There's certain things that we want to make right decisions or moralistic decisions. I think we're very important, or especially with positive decisions. Of course, I'm not saying, like snort a line or something like that. Nothing like that, but at the same time, but something that is going to be very strong and positive. Like, hey, I told you once, told you twice, stop thinking this way. Do not allow this person to bring you down. One of the greatest things
to believe in yourself, okay.
Well, one of the greatest things I could say as a father that I saw was my oldest telling Frankie, my oldest is Trey, telling Frankie, because Frankie was just walking around with his head down, telling, hey, I felt like I did my job as a father. Mm-hmm. Told Frankie, hey, pick your head up. No, sir. We don't do that in this family. No, sir. Pick your head up. And that was like, I did my job. But to me, that's good, positive reinforcement.
I see.
That's positive reinforcement. And that's what we need more of. And that's what I'm getting at. I guess maybe I went a wrong angle on it, but that's really what I wanted.
Yeah, because I think about on the other side of things that a lot of times we don't allow our kids to think for themselves. I went to like jumping on the couch. Hey, I told you once, 12 million times, get off that couch.
Yeah,
and maybe you could say to one side that, hey, that means you're learning to respect the things around you. But on the other coin, I see that it can mean that they'll never break the rules. And sometimes the rules are just conditioned in us and we think that's the way it's supposed to be. And sometimes we forget it was just written by some guy.
Exactly.
Some dude just wrote them, and then we've been going off of them. And you see that today.
Exactly.
You see that today, and that's a fight in politics. Is that, well, this was written this way and back in this time, and it's like,
dude,
like that's it. That's permanent. And it's like, dude, somebody just wrote that, and it could probably have nothing. It probably doesn't mean anything to you. They don't even understand today's world nowadays.
It's with the ink and the paper that it's on, right? Not even that. It's going to deteriorate one day anyway.
No, we're going to make copies and we're going to do this and that. How fragile existence is also. How quickly we're changing. Forget you're on a rock that's spinning and it's going really fast. You can't comprehend how fast you're going. You can't even comprehend how small you are, how big you are, or
how small we are. Exactly. Yeah. How small we are. We're nothing. Yeah.
What if it's the opposite though? What if the universe goes just nano, just keep, and you maybe are God tier to some extent.
Your feet are over the globe and stuff. Yeah. Big old patas like that. I was gonna say I do operate. And maybe I don't think I've ever told you this. Another thing that I got from the car business very early on is one of the most dangerous words to teach your child was the word no. So I've always learned that at a very young age. As child rearing, I always was very careful to use the word no.
Was the car business more impactful than the Navy almost?
Yeah,
or
the car business
kind of told you everything, right?
Well, actually, back to what we were talking about, what I did is I didn't sell a car for the first 3 weeks. So I was a really crappy car salesman.
So usually you come in, you're at least selling a car in a week or so.
Oh, yeah, that's how I feel. That's what those guys are made. I couldn't sell. I was scared. Man, these guys are telling me to do things that I don't talk to people like that. I could joke around, do all these things, but I could never ask for sales. And so they had straight up told me that Saturday morning, that's it, bro. If you don't sell nothing today, you're out of here. So I sold 3 cars, like boom, 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 right off the bat. I was like, okay, I think I got this.
What switched?
I don't know.
Being forced into that position? You think so? Maybe.
I think so. I think it's like, you ain't going anywhere. Like, you think I'm dude, like, no, bro, no, dude, no, I don't know what it was, but you're gonna buy something, bro. You're gonna buy. I don't care if you buy this. You buy something.
Yeah, we're gonna close.
We're gonna close today. And then I sold like 6 more the following week, and then back to the same dry rut again. And of course, in the car business, they all got these crazy phrases, last month's hero, this month's zero, and they're all cracking jokes, they're all like, oh man, this is horrible. So we had our sales meeting upstairs, and man, that's a whole another story there. So but they had this big library of just sales videos, huge. Back in those days, if anybody doesn't know, videos were like in the thousands and thousands of dollars back in those days. I don't know if you knew that or not.
To like produce and edit and make, or what
just to buy like a series.
Oh,
so to buy like like a 10 video series, it was like maybe $6,000-7,000 to buy a series, and they had workbooks and everything. It was like for everybody. So they had like 3 forms of sales on video series. So I learned to play guitar watching videos. So screw it. Went there every morning from 8 to 12. Watched every single one of them. Watched them again. Watched them for like 6 months. Boy, that changed my life completely.
You're pretty good about learning too.
Absolutely.
You seem to do that regularly.
Absolutely. And that's what helped me out the most, was that. And then that helped me just understand life really more than anything else.
I feel like for you think that it's easy. Like the fact that people can't learn new things. I know that sounds ridiculous, but back to the rut, right? We don't want to learn. We're good. Everything's fine. And it's almost like just by this little bit of dedication to reading or watching videos, you've set yourself apart. You know something that these people don't, no matter how good they think they are. Nobody's taken the time to get back to the books, to get back to the craft, the studying, the learning, the part that's painful to most. Exactly. Maybe it's not painful for you as much, but maybe you've learned to get more comfortable with it. I think most people suffer when it comes to learning a new thing.
Well, it's kind of, I don't want to pick on anybody, but it's kind of like, you want to go drinking? Or, you want to go, jogging? Or it's quite, again, there's seasons. I try not to get wrapped up, because it can't rain every day, all the time.
Yeah.
You got to have some rain, you got to have some sunshine, you got to have some, dust, you got to have some, it's got to be seasons. There's going to be time for you to read. There's going to be time for you to read. There's going to be time for you to learn. There's those pockets. Doesn't mean you do it all the time. Just take those seasons.
I think the seasons also let you take what you learn and apply it. And then while you apply, you go hit a new wall, and then it's time for learning.
Exactly.
And then you get tired of learning. I want to go try it now.
Exactly. And you apply it, and you go back to learning or whatever it is. It could be any field, anything.
Yeah.
Because I do that. I always stay on top of I love business. You already know I love business. And I just love reading about, especially all the genius things that they do to attract you to the business. Because I love music, and music is a lot of the genius.
And business goes back to people. It's like sales. Like it always goes back to what is the relationship? What is the psychology? What is going on with people? Here, buy this. Not people are asking why would they buy this? What does this benefit them? Why would they care to have this? That's the deeper level of what business is really about. It's a transaction, just like communication. You're having a one-way conversation. Of course, you're not going to buy it from you.
Exactly. You want to be able to. What does it do for me? Yeah. Everybody's selfish. What does it do for me? What does it do for me? What does it do for me?
What it does for me is it gives me some money in my pocket. I don't know what it does for you.
I don't care what it does for you, but what it does for me is this. But that's the big thing, is like, well, if it doesn't do anything for me, then I don't care about it.
Yeah.
You want it to that point where it's like, dear, take my money. Perfect. That's what I got. That's the product you want, I guess. I want to take my money. Here it is. But you never know. You never know when you're going to have that product.
Yeah, that's true. Ray, pleasure. Always talking to you. Always fun. I've been learning since day one of meeting you. Hopefully I've been able to give you back something, but I appreciate
absolutely. Tons, man, tons.
I appreciate your time. You've always been a good friend, a good mentor. I think part of it is because you've had the ability to remove the age barrier and get to a level that I was coming from, and I think you continue to do that, so that's amazing. For anybody watching, my two viewers, where can they catch you on? What, you got a gig coming up or anything?
Actually, my next one is not until July because I'm going on vacation. I'm actually doing the roller coaster thing.
That's right.
So we'll be doing that, and so I'm going to be out of pocket, which is probably, again, seasons.
Yeah.
Everything's the seasons.
Yeah, take a little break.
Exactly.
Get away from it.
Get away from it, and then we'll see what it's going to be. But I usually been playing out at Marker 37 is where I've been playing out a lot. So if you want to catch me out there, I'll be out there usually.
Very nice.
But it's to July 11th will be my next date.
Okay, July 11th. Ray, pleasure.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you.